good, YouTube? Slender Evolution X here. Coming to you guys with a video today about a personal conflict a lot of people in Yu-Gi-Oh! Today have. And what I wanted to talk about was neck decking versus originality. And it's a pressing matter in every format in the game and has been ever since the game's been around. And net decking has such a bad rap in the game. You don't want to be a guy who is considered only good because he pulled a deck card from card off the internet. And I think net decking has a huge misconception that it's such a bad thing. What I think is that in the game today, it's very hard to be successful without a core group of cards. And that being said, look at Elemental Dragons. This deck has been running the tables ever since it has been released in Tachyon Galaxy. And you have, 20 to 30 monsters that you absolutely necessarily have to have in this deck. Like, for it to be successful. So, there alone, you're only allowed, 2 or 3, maybe even 4 cards tops that you can kind of pick and choose at your own, opinion and your own text in the card to make it an original deck. So, that being said, I really think that in the game today, originality can be 3 or 4 cards. To have an original deck, you only need to change a few cards, because if you change too much, you can't just go into a tournament with a random deck. Granted, it could be completely original, nobody could have ever run it, and top with that deck. Granted, there are ways to cheat and do things like that, but I think it's completely different than, being successful with an original deck. So, that being said, I'm going to dive into the 3 big decks. Like I said, I already went over Dragon Rollers, but look at Evil Swarm. The main objective in Evil Swarm is to get out Ophion. So you're going to run cards that allow you to do this efficiently. So you're looking at 3 Castor, 3 Mandragora, 3 Kirkion, possibly 3 Thunderbird, 2-3 Thunderbird. You want to be able to have the spell and traps in that deck. So you're looking there at 15, 20 cards that you absolutely have to have in this deck for it to be competitive. So it's very hard to change anything in that as well. Another one is Prophecy. Dude, that deck is filled with spell books. It's really hard to, vary from these absolute 20 must-have spell books in this deck to be competitive, and do something on your own thing. So, in my opinion, changing these decks, and we've seen it most recently in a couple of decks that I'll explain later, where they have changed a few cards and have been successful with these decks. And in my opinion, it makes it a completely original deck, especially if you're able to come out and show somebody that you can do well with it. First one I wanted to talk about is the Priestess-less Prophecy decks. The first guy to think of that, when you think of the Prophecy deck, you think that High Priestess is a card that you can absolutely not live without. It is the boss monster of the deck, and you need to have it in there. But whoever, I apologize, I don't remember who did it, but the guy just went with 3 Kaikus, 2 Jowgen, and the little Searcher guy as the monster lineup, and that, it tops, and it continues to top. And that is a completely original idea that people really weren't sure how it was going to work, and it's been showing time and time again that it's a very successful deck. Another one is the Dragon Ruler deck that I profiled on Shriek a couple weeks ago. He main decks 2 Fusilier Dragon and 3 Eradicator Virus. The hardest deck Prophecy, that E-Dragons have to beat is Evil Swarm and Prophecy. They're the big 3. They're what he has to compete with. So this guy took in his head, what can he beat these cards with? And most of the time, it's Eradicator Virus. Eradicator Virus can shut down Evil Swarm. It can shut down Prophecies. When you get rid of Magic and Traps, that's an awesome ability. And him having 2 Fusilier Dragon in that deck allows him to do that very efficiently. And, he saw great success with it. He topped at that tournament in Japan. If you guys wanted to check it out, you can feel free to go to the other video. I'll put a link below. But yeah, 2 Fusilier Dragon and 3 Eradicator Viruses main decked. And I think that makes a lot of things original, too, is being able to main deck side deck cards. You see some people starting to main deck, Imperial Iron Walls, which are very good against Dragon Ruler. Now, granted, all of this can change as soon as the format changes, but the idea is still the same. The idea of trying to be original in this game, it's a very difficult thing to do, to be original and be successful. So you kind of have to balance what you wanted to do with those. I mean, look at Mermails. The first title Mermail deck was like awesome. The Mermails were seeing a big decline because they just couldn't keep up with these decks. And I mean, it's been shown time and time again since they came out that Prophecy and E-Dragons and Evil Swarm all do incredibly well against Mermails. But then somebody decided to throw a title into the Mermail deck, and it's seeing more competitive play than it was when, I mean, they were running without it. I mean, it's just things like that. I mean, that's one card, and I consider that a very original deck because of the idea and because that it's so hard to be competitive with something that's completely original. So, guys, please give me your thoughts. Leave them below. I love to hear from you guys, and give me your thoughts on, like what I said, the net decking versus originality. I'm all for it. I love seeing original decks win. I mean, it's a rare occurrence because mainstream decks are mainstream for a reason. But, yeah, just please like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to join the revolution today. Click an ad if you guys haven't. And I will see you guys tomorrow with a new video. Thanks for watching, guys. Slender Revolution, signing out.